So just before the holidays, my older sister gives me a call and she tells me about how she got my teenage nephew an awesome Christmas present. She got him a PS5 Pro. And she's super excited to tell me about it because she knows I'm a big gaming and tech nerd. She knows that I have a PS5 Pro myself. She knows that I have all sorts of PlayStation decor and accessories. And she knows that I even wear PlayStation socks from time to time. I'm not embarrassed by that. And as pumped as I was for my nephew to get an awesome gift that I know he probably would be really, really happy with, I was also a little bit concerned. You see, the problem is I'd seen their TV. All right, not that bad, but something that concerned me was not really right for PS5 Pro. And so obviously I did what any good brother or uncle would do. I bought them a brand new OLED television. No, I didn't. I'm a poor theater artist and YouTuber who compulsively buys toys that remind him of childhood. It's a problem. No, what I did do was I took the time to sit with my sister and just talk to her a little bit about what the PS5 Pro is and what you really need to take advantage of all of the power that it has under the hood. And honestly, I feel like this is something that maybe Sony didn't do the best job of in the rollout. Maybe Sony doesn't say very much about all of the input and output options for PS5 Pro, because the truth is that like you don't need all of the tech that we're going to talk about for a PS5 Pro to still be an effective console. And even if you don't have the kind of display that we're going to discuss, PS5 Pro is still going to have a bigger 2 TB hard drive. It still has that beefier GPU that is certainly going to be at least supporting more stable and better performance. But without certain display features and ports, the PS5 Pro is just not going to be utilized to its fullest potential in your setup. And my sister's a little bit older than me and not a gamer by any stretch of the imagination, so some of this stuff was kind of lost on her. Console generations used to be really different. I mean, there was just this obvious change in quality and performance and capability from your 8-bit Nintendo to your 16-bit SNES or Genesis to the 32-bit PlayStation. I mean, Nintendo even named a console Nintendo 64. There was just a pretty obvious pattern in the early days. But nowadays, it feels like whether you're going from PS4 to PS5, PS5 to PS5 Pro, or even looking ahead into the future, it just seems like console generations are kind of becoming less of a thing. You know, we all know that there are games for years now that have been getting released across multiple generations. But there's no question right now that the PS5 Pro is definitely the most powerful console that you can buy on the market. I think the question that consumers really need to ask themselves is it worth the extra $250 on top of the base price of the console, depending on what your setup is at home? You don't want to spend that money if you're not going to be able to take advantage of everything that the console has to offer. So I'm not going to sit here and go through every spec of the console. There's lots of great sites for that, from Digital Foundry to ratings.com, all sorts of places that you can go to get those kinds of deep dives. What I'm going to talk about are the essential things that I discussed with my sister that I think any buyer should really have if they're going to spend the money to make PS5 Pro part of their lineup. And look, at the end of the day, you just really need to have a great display. If you have a TV that you've bought within the last couple of years, chances are that it's going to be feature rich enough that it's going to take advantage of most of what the PS5 Pro can offer. On the resolution front, you're going to want to have at least 1440p if that's the type of gaming you like to do. But for most gamers, they're going to be looking for 4K. I mean, a lot of people already have 4K ultra high def displays. These are the kinds of baseline TVs that most big chains have been selling for a while now. But just check and make sure your resolution is bare minimum 1440 and ideally a 4K display to take advantage of PS5 Pro. You're also going to want to make sure that your TV supports HDR10 specifically, not Dolby Vision, but HDR10, to make sure that it's capable of showing the entire gamut of colors that the PS5 Pro is capable of generating at any given moment in a game. You're also going to want to make sure that your TV has at least one HDMI 2.1 port, not 2.0, 2.1, and you're going to want to make sure that that's the port that you hook your PS5 Pro up to. The PS5 Pro has a whole host of great modern features like smooth 4K at 120 hertz, VRR, auto low latency mode. It has all of this, but unless you're hooking it up to an HDMI 2.1 port, you're not going to be able to take advantage of any of that, and it really does make a difference in practice when you're playing your games. So like I told my sister, if you're thinking about going PS5 Pro, you're going to want to make sure that you've got a 4K display, you're going to want to make sure that it has HDR10 support, and you're going to want to make sure that it has at least one HDMI 2.1 port, and that you're using a high-speed HDMI cable that supports 2.1 transfer. And I also told her not just to check the specs, but give a listen to her TV's speakers. You know, so many TVs these days have these incredibly beautiful displays, but the most rinky-dink speakers in the world. And I guess manufacturers just kind of think that we're all going to throw sound bars on our TV. But the quickest way that you can get to taking advantage of the 3D audio features on PS5 Pro is just go ahead and get a great headset. You're probably going to want one for online gaming chat anyway. So, you know, you want to look for something that has spatial audio support or 3D audio support ideally. While I didn't didn't get them a TV. I did splurge and get my nephew a Pulse 3D Elite headset. That's one that's really, really good if you're looking for something that can take advantage of all the audio features on a PS5 Pro. And if you're going for a pro level display, you'll probably want to go for a pro level controller anyway. So take a look at the DualSense Edge. I actually think that it's too bad that they don't package this in the box with a PS5 Pro. I wish that they would go with the DualSense Edge instead of just your standard DualSense controller. It feels like it would be a value worth it for the money that they're charging, but I get it. Everything's expensive right now, so it is what it is. Like I say, the PS5 Pro is a great console no matter what display you have at home, but it's worth it if you're in the market for one to just take that time and look at the display that you have at home and really think about what features you're going to be able to take advantage of if you take the leap and get that console. And if you do have a reasonably good display, that PS5 Pro is going to take a lot of the guesswork out of your console gaming. You're not going to be thinking about whether you want to favor frame rates or favor resolutions. Most developers that support it, and most games do at this point, offer some sort of balanced mode where you can get the very best frame rate at the very best resolution possible on a console machine at this point. And if you have a display that has some of the features that we're talking about here, you're definitely going to notice a difference. Now, is it going to be as crazy as a brand new gaming PC? No, it's not. But it's also not going to cost anywhere near what a gaming PC costs. For $750, you're getting a really powerful piece of gaming tech. And as someone who just picked up a gaming PC, sure, I can definitely appreciate sitting at the desk, seeing those ultra settings, seeing games at the most graphically intense levels that the developers wanted them to be shown at. But I'm also still just sitting back on my couch sometimes and enjoying my couch gaming at the highest level that's possible by going with PS5 Pro. I don't see getting rid of it anytime soon, even though I've got my gaming PC, because it's still the best of the best when it comes to sitting down to play some online games with my friends on PlayStation Network, or even sitting down for a couch co-op session. The PS5 Pro is really just the undisputed champion of the living room at this point. But if you don't have a display that comes anywhere near any of the features that we're talking about here, I think that there's a fair case to be made for maybe waiting, saving up, spending your resources on a display. I mean, we're sort of in between console generations right now, and all of the specs that we're talking about are going to be just as important when we get to the new console generation. So better to save up now and really secure a future-proofed display so that you'll be ready for years to come in terms of being able to show off your console's features. And I think we're probably only about 2 years from Sony having a new console. And I've got some really reliable sources who tell me it's going to be called PlayStation 6. So how about you? Do you have a PS5 Pro at home and are you enjoying it? Are you thinking of getting one this year? Maybe thinking of getting one for GTA 6 like so many folks are at this point? Tell me in the comments, what's your experience with the PS5 Pro? Is it something you're even thinking about getting? I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, I'm Owen, the friendly Zennial Gamer. Thanks so much for joining me. And if you enjoyed the video, hit like and subscribe for more. Those likes and subscribes really help my new channel get the word out to new audiences.